Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we have a real easy, fun, quick project to make. This only took about an hour and a half. You may be guessing what it is. My daughter thought it was a birdhouse, which is close. It's actually one of those wine bottle bird feeders. So you put bird seed in the wine bottle, you drop it in there, and then the bird seed just gravity feeds into the tray here. So I made this is one of those one board builds. So I made this out of one 8-foot board of cedar. I got this from the big box store. They didn't have any 3/4 inch 1x6. They had 1x4, but not 1x6. So I bought a piece of decking. So this is 5/4 by 6 decking. And then I just planed it down in the thickness planer to 3/4 of an inch. You can use it at the full, 1 inch if you want. And then I just ran it through the table saw to square up the edges because it comes with round edges. But one board, you can make it out of pine if you want. If you make it out of pine, you're definitely going to want to either paint it or seal it. This just has some tung oil on it, or some kind of oil on it. I think it's tung oil. Actually, it's teak oil. I see it right there. It's teak oil. So this has teak oil on it. If you make it with pine, you're definitely going to have to seal it with something. Cedar, you can leave natural if you want. So again, it only took about an hour and a half to make. Simple, easy, fun. Let's get into it. All right, so here's the 5/4 by 6 decking board, 8 feet long. And like I said, we're just going to run it through the thickness planer to get it down to 3/4 of an inch. And then after we run it through the thickness planer, we're just going to run it through the table saw on each side just to get those round edges off. It's just, I like to work with the square edges. This way when you have pieces that meet up in the corner, there's not that round edge there. All right, so I have my 3/4 inch, or at least now 3/4 inch 1x6. So this was a piece of 5/4 inch decking. I got this from the big box store. The big box store didn't have any 1x6 around, so it's 5/4 decking. I just milled it down to 3/4 inch on the planer. So now I'm going to cut it into my rough lengths. I haven't figured that out yet. Got a wine bottle here, so I'm going to use this to figure out my lengths. They're probably going to be about 16 inches or so. And then I sketched a quick little reference just so I know what I'm doing. So this is the front view, this is the side view. All right, so I have my wine bottle on the board. There's going to be a board that holds it at its neck, and then it's going to drop down onto a little table here. And then I need some room to lift it out of that holder before I hit the gable on the roof. So I think I'm going to cut my first board at 24 inches and then go from there. All right, I think this roof, I'm just going to do a 45-degree angle because that's nice and simple. So I found the center of the board. I'm just going to use my triangle to draw my lines. And then I'm probably just going to take it over to the miter blocks and cut those off and see how we look. All right, so I just cut two 6-inch pieces, and this is going to be my roof. And you can just butt these together like this. That is perfectly fine, perfectly acceptable. Just glue that joint and you're good to go. I may 45 these, I'm not sure yet. But again, This is perfectly acceptable, easy. Just remember, if you do it this way, you have to cut the lower piece a little bit shorter because it's longer. So whatever piece goes on the bottom has to be cut. So I did end up mitering mine. So that's going to go like that. Next I don't know what I'm doing. I got to think about it. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do is figure out the holder for my wine bottle. So I made this piece 3.5 inches wide, which is wider than my bottle. And I think I'm just going to drill a hole in the middle. So looks like wow, it's bigger than an inch. So probably 1.125, 1.25 inches, whatever size Forstner bit I have, I'm going to use to drill this hole. So I'm just going to draw a line diagonally across to get my center and then pop a hole through this. There we go. All right, so I have 1.25 inch bit, which is plenty big, so that's what I'm going to use. Alright, I think I'll just run the router on there with a little round over bit to chamfer the edge a little. Alright, now that I got this piece made, we can kind of figure out how long this piece needs to be. So, this is going to fit in here like this. Let me put the roof on. And then I'm also going to fill this gable area in, so I'm just going to put this ruler here to represent where that's going to be. Even though the bottle will still be able to go into it, I'm just going to put it there anyway. So I need that much room to pull it out. Let me move this ruler. But you will be able to go into it and then come out this way. So actually, I guess the better thing to do would be to put this here. So go into it and then come out. In and then, so I think like there, something like that is probably pretty good. And then the base where this is going to pour out onto, I'm guessing something like that is good. So if I measure this, that means my board needs to be about, I'm going to say 19 inches. So that's what I'm going to make mine, 19 inches. Obviously, I'm winging this. I mean, we had a few reference pictures to go by, but I don't have a to scale drawing or anything, so we're just winging this. So I'm going to cut this 19 and then we'll give it another dry fit and see how it feels. Alright, so I think I forgot to hit record on that last little segment, but all I did was put a little round over bit in my trim router and I routed out both sides of the piece that holds the wine bottle. This fits in here nice now, and I'm just going to glue this to here. You could domino it or dowel it. If it breaks off, I'll do that, but this is cedar. It's pretty porous. It's pretty soft. I think the glue will hold it just fine. Plus, I think I'm going to put a side on here, so that will hold it as well. We'll see, but I'm just going to glue it. And I'm just using a little Titebond 3 here because it is waterproof. And it doesn't matter which side I use because it's in the center. A little glue there, a little glue here. Give it a little rub back and forth. And I guess I should throw a clamp on there. Just a little light clamping pressure. All right, while the glue is drying, I am going to take a measurement for my side piece, which is going to go from the bottom of that little holder up to the bottom of the roof line. So that is 12 inches. So I'm going to cut two pieces at 12 inches. All right, so I have this thing popped out of clamps now, and I think what I want to do is we're going to have the roof on like this. This piece is going to sit, let me put it over here so you can see it better. This clamps out of the way. This piece is going to sit on here like this. Like this. And then I think what I want to do is draw some kind of line, some kind of curve maybe from this point up here down to here. So I'm gonna mark a spot on this board. So I'm basically gonna come from here to up here. And I think instead of doing like a straight line, I think I want to do a nice curve, but then I have to repeat it. So let me think how I'm going to do this for a second. All right, so what I ended up doing is just getting a thin piece of wood here. This is like 1/8 inch poplar or something, a cut off from something. And I just held it to my point here and gave it a little bend and then traced it. I'm going to cut that out with the jigsaw and then I'll mark it out on the other side and that will be my little curve. All right, so let me cut this out. All right, I just gave that a little quick sanding. So now I'm gonna trace it out on this piece. And I'm just gonna trace this now. And give that a quick cut. All right, so I have those cut up and just sitting there. Now I'm gonna glue this together and then we'll think about what we're gonna do for the bottom piece there. So this is gonna be the same thing, just some Tight Bond 3. And you know what? I think I'll put a brad nail in here just to hold it, or not even a brad nail. I'm gonna put a pin nail in here. All right, so I just have that sitting on there with some glue. And instead of clamping it, I'm just gonna throw a couple of pin nails in here. Or 4. And then we'll do the same thing. Oops. Do the same thing on this side. A little bit of glue. Pin nail. All right, and then we're gonna throw the roof on that. Okay, so same process. I'm just gonna throw some glue on here. And this project is almost done. This is a real easy project. And you'll enjoy, if you make it out of cedar, you'll enjoy working with the cedar. It's easy to work with and it smells great. All right, so that's gonna go something like that. And you can clamp this, you can pin nail it, you can brad nail it, you can use some good old-fashioned finish nails, or you can even just use tape. Tape works great too. So this is nice and tight up on the top. It's a little bit open here. I'll probably, you can glue it and fill it with sawdust, but I think I'll just take a screwdriver and just round this over a little bit. All right, so we're just about done. All we need to do now is we need to put a little plate on here for the feed to fall onto, the bird food. And then I think I want to just put a little triangle in this gable area. So a couple of more pieces and then we're done. All right, so I just cut this little triangle out on the miter box. It's just 245s. I'm going to glue this in. And then after I glue it in, I'm just going to make sure I can get the bottle in and out, but I'm pretty sure it works. Actually, I think I'm going to slide it down a little bit because I like that little bit of a reveal showing there. Now let me just see. This goes in like this. This slides. Oh, yes, plenty of room. Plenty of room. All right, and again, I'm just going to tack this in with the pin nailer. All right, let's make the bird food holder now. All right, so for the little food tray, I cut a little platform there. I cut it the same size as the piece that's holding the bottle. And then what I did is, this is 3/4 of an inch thick. I ripped a couple of scrap pieces 1.25 inches so that it gives a little bit of a ledge to hold the seat on. And then I'm just going to picture frame this piece with these pieces. And then I guess I'm going to drill a couple of holes around the edge of this after I get these pieces put together, just as weep holes, so that this doesn't hold a lot of rainwater when it rains. And I'm going to do it around the edges so that the seed doesn't fall through in the middle. So we'll see how that works. All right, so I have all of my pieces cut. I'm just going to glue these on and tack them. Actually, I have to cut this one still. Let me just get a length on it. And I'm not doing anything fancy here. I'm not 45ing anything. I'm just gonna do butt joints here. And if you want to get fancy, you can 45 these two pieces together, but I'm just gonna butt joint it. All right, let me just cut this in the miter box. All right, so this is cut, and I am just gonna glue it all up now. So this piece is not perfectly flat. It does have a little bit of a crown to it, and I'm gonna put the crown up this way so that the water goes to the sides, and then hopefully it will drain through the weep holes that I put in. That's the idea anyway. Glue there. I'm just gonna tack this thing all together. All right, so I'm just gonna give this a little time to dry, then I'm gonna come back, I'm gonna give it a quick sanding, and then I think we're just gonna put some tung oil on it. Cedar looks nice the way it is, so a little oil just to bring out the color. All right, so I'm just gonna drill a few decent sized weep holes in here. I think this is like a 3/16" bit. So I'm just gonna put them in the corners and on the sides, I think. Come on. All right, it would have definitely have been better to put these holes in there before I attached this because I couldn't get the drill to go down. So I did have some minor, it's hard to see the lighting, but I did have some minor tear out in these, but you're not going to see it much. All right, so I ended up adding these two little 45 pieces. You know, they're just little cut-offs I stuck in there just to keep the bottle centered a little bit better. It was wobbling a little, so that helped stabilize it. And now I'm just going to coat it in tung oil. I mean, it's cedar. You can leave it natural if you want. You can paint it. You can decorate it. I mean, you can also make this out of pine and then just paint it. This piece of 8 foot, so this is my leftover here, so it was an 8 foot piece of 5/4 decking, and I have, what, 16 inches left over, so an 8 foot board is plenty. So if you want to get an 8 foot pine board, it's probably only like, I don't know, $10. This board was 16 or 17, and that was at Home Depot, which is expensive. If you got it at a lumber yard, it's probably cheaper. This is also New York, which is expensive, so I'm sure you could get it cheaper if you wanted. But yeah, just a little, I keep saying tung oil, this is teak oil, but I'm just gonna give it a coat of that. And it really brings out the color too. I'm just gonna pour a little on here. And you'll see it really brings out the red in the cedar. So I'm just gonna give it a coat of that, and then we're gonna go hang it. All right, here she is, fully done. Just need to mount it and stick the wine bottle in. Right, so originally I was going to mount it next to where that birdhouse was, but there's squirrels that climb on that fence a lot. So what I think is I'm going to do is mount it way down there in that corner on that 2x4 I stuck there. So we'll see how that goes, and if that works well, I'll change that 2x4 out for a cedar 4x4. All right, so I just have some exterior finish screws, and I'm just gonna screw it to this post. All right, now let's see if it actually works. I haven't tested this out yet. I don't know if it's gonna get clogged or what, but here we go. That worked awesome. Let me get you up there so you can see. Oh, sorry about the truck passing by. But you can see the feed stopped perfectly. All right, I'll try to see if I can get some shots with some birds. And yeah, this is the apple tree just bloomed as well. All right, let's see if we can get some birds. All right, so this is the view out my kitchen window. So we'll just, we'll leave this set up here, and I'll check back periodically to see if there's any birds to record. Okay, so we got our first, looks like female cardinal sitting over there. Okay, a cardinal just landed below the feeder. I threw some feed on the ground to attract them to the area. So let's see if he flies up to the bird feeder.